Hello and welcome tonight. Nigerians troop out in their numbers to exercise their franchise in the presidential and National Assembly elections. INEC suspends elections in parts of Abia, Kebbi, Bayelsa states owing to violence, as well as in Edo owing to the omission of a political party in some areas. Inspector General of Police says the elections have been largely peaceful, vows that the police will tackle security breaches across the country. Nigerians finally have had their day at the polls today as they trooped out to exercise their franchise in the presidential and National Assembly elections across the country. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over 87 million Nigerians who collected their permanent voter cards were expected to participate in the crucial contest. INEC had announced that the elections will take place in over 176,000 polling units across the country. There are a total of 18 candidates contesting in the presidential election to occupy the presidential villa after the expiration of President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure on May the 29th, 2023. In the southern part of the country, voters made it quite early to their polling units to cast their ballots in the presidential and National Assembly elections. There were, however, reports of violence and disruption of the elections in a few states such as Lagos, Edo and Delta. This next report captures the conduct of the polls in the south. Presidential and National Assembly elections. As early as 7:30 a.m., distribution of election materials had started in some states amid tight security. The region also reported minimal security breaches. Well, Nigerians finally have had their day at the polls. We take this story once again as they trooped out to exercise their franchise in the presidential and National Assembly elections across the country. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over 87 million Nigerians who collected their permanent voters card were expected to participate in the crucial contest. INEC had announced that the elections would take place in over 176,000 polling units across the country. There are a total of 18 candidates contesting in the presidential election to occupy the presidential villa after the expiration of the President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure on May the 29th, 2023. Presidential candidates, including those of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, the All Progressives Congress, Senator Bola Tinubu, Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, and the New Nigeria's People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, also cast their votes at the various polling units. Mr. Abubakar and his wife, Titi, voted at polling unit 012, Ajia Ward in the Yola North local government area of Adamawa State. The former vice president expressed optimism and confidence that he would emerge the winner of the presidential election and succeed President Muhammadu Buhari.
I observed that, there was, a short challenge, as far as, my thumbprint was concerned. We had to go to a facial, accreditation. I think to the extent that it was meant to stop vote buying, I think it's a worthwhile exercise. But then I think as far as the accessibility of the new currency to the ordinary man, I think it needs to be, more needs to be done.
Well, over in Anambra State, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi cast his vote in polling unit 019 Agulu. He said he was satisfied with the process, even though he was getting reports that the process was delayed in so many areas across the state. The Labour Party is also alleging collusion by some INEC officials to scuttle the polls. He again called on INEC to ensure voting materials got to areas where they were yet to start voting.
Well, the process so far, as I observe it, is okay. I thank INEC, and I wish the same thing all over Nigeria, because I can't assess it from my own position here. But judging from that, I give them my kudos and say thank you. We want free, fair, and credible election. I came there, like you saw, queued up like every other voter, waited for a while. I was number 20-something when I started. Within a short time, I was able to vote.
So there were rumors this morning that you had stepped down for particular candidates. How true is that?
No. I have not stepped down for any candidate, and I will not. In this election, if there's anybody people will step down for, it's me. Because somebody just said, well, okay, I'm facing two formidable opponents. And I said, the only source of their being formidable is that they were part of those who brought us to this junction. And this junction is not a place where you claim reference for, because it failed. So the only person who is formidable in this election is me. Because I'm coming with new ideas. I'm coming with a proven track record of performance. I'm coming with what they can call a clean record and offering a new beginning. The outcome can only be determined by God. Whatever God says, I accept it. It is God that makes it possible for everybody. It's God that will listen and look at the yearnings of Nigerians, especially the poor people who are suffering. Because Nigerians have suffered enough. And I believe God will hear their cry.
What are you telling Nigerians?
Well, what I urge them is to make sure that they extend the time of voting. That will help. This will happen. As long as it works as seamless as it is here, I believe they will be able to meet up within the specified time. And if they don't, they can extend it for a few minutes. That's my appeal. I'm not authorizing them because I have that capacity to do that.
In Lagos, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, cast his vote at his polling unit in Alausa, Ikeja, alongside his wife, Remi, and other party chieftains. Addressing reporters, he says democracy is here to stay in Nigeria, and that is confident of victory.
The process is very good. It has shown an improvement over the years. The Electoral Act has worked wonders. What the National Assembly has done has proved to be very good. The system has been changed. You have beavers now that is an improved from the card reader. Accreditation of voters is very effective, and you can see the validation and, critical segments of the elections, having the integrity as expected. We are improving. We are improving tremendously.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Kwankwaso, voted at a polling unit in the Kwankwaso town of the Madobi local government area of Kano State. Addressing reporters after voting, Mr. Kwankwaso said accreditation and voting didn't start in the polling unit till 11 a.m. as against 8:30 a.m. He therefore appealed to INEC to be a little bit patient for his supporters to vote.
Today I came and of course casted my vote here. But when I went to the first unit, they couldn't find my name. We had to go to the other one in the other class. And I was very happy that we were able to do it correctly and I was able to vote. If I didn't vote, I would have been an angry man that millions of people are voting for him and I couldn't vote. So I think that is settled. The only thing is you could see the huge number of people. The turnout was so high and unfortunately the equipment they are using is fairly slow. And not only that, immediately I finished voting, it broke down and I was told they were repairing it. I believe that INEC should look at all ways of ensuring that when people come within a short period of time, they vote and go. And we were told that they started after 11. I don't know whether when you came here, but we were told the INEC could only start after 11 a.m. This is something that could start by 8, meaning 3 hours wasted. And 3 hours on top there will mean a lot of problems. So I am so happy that I was able to vote. My family and everybody, we voted. And we are now waiting to hear the great stories from across the country.
In part two, after the break, INEC suspends elections in parts of Abia, Kebbi, Bayelsa states owing to violence, as well as in Edo, owing to the omission of a political party in some areas. Do join us again. Watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. But security is critical in assessing the overall success of the electoral process. Early reports indicate that the presidential election may have been largely peaceful, with pockets of violence in Lagos, Edo and Delta states. Our correspondent Dari Idowu reports.
Empty streets in Abuja on this election day. The usual Saturday hustle and bustle stifled by the restriction in movement. As INEC officials begin their setup, voters mill around and in one of the polling stations move like a horde to verify their names on the wall. Across the nation's capital, the voter turnout is higher than usual in this city famed for voter apathy. The voters, many of them first-timers, are quite excited.
Immediately I went there, I told them I'm a person with disability. I didn't even need to tell the man when he just saw me, because he could actually see my own disability, so I didn't even need to really explain. He just hurriedly told me to go and vote.
It's preferable to vote and not just sit at home and keep saying it's not going to count.
And the process is so smooth. I'm so happy about it. First time voting, I came out today and I did it.
They have tried to capture me twice and it didn't work.
Yes.
My thumbprint didn't work, my face didn't work, and they have tried it for over 20 people. None worked.
Luckily, INEC sends another BVAS machine. The obviously elated voters cheer and voting commences. Election observers describe the voting in the nation's capital as rather peaceful.
I have hope. I have hope. And who cannot have hope with a country such as Nigeria? This is the day the Lord has made, so we may all rejoice in it.
This election has captured the attention and the fascination of the world. Elections in Nigeria matter.
The peace accord has been signed. That was a very positive occasion. And the spirit of the peace accord is that everyone commits to peaceful elections, to playing their part, and to ensuring there's a calm atmosphere. And particularly, as I said, my message is to the political party leaders: make sure that your supporters conduct their operations today peacefully and don't resort to any post-election violence.
However, the civil society election observers are not too happy with the reports from some parts of the country compared to the scenes from the elections in Abuja.
Situation Room strongly condemns the killings and acts of election violence and urges authorities to stem further violence, to creating an enabling environment for a peaceful and free, fair election in the country.
PDP, Labour Party, APC.
As voting ends and the sorting and counting kicks in, Nigerians wait with bated breaths for the results of this very keenly contested election. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
We apologize for the mix-up. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, says the police is dealing with security breaches across the country. Mr. Alkali Baba stated this while addressing journalists during the monitoring of elections in Abuja. He, however, noted that the exercise has been largely peaceful.
Also in a very critical period now, which is sorting and counting in most of the polling stations that we have visited. The response of people are encouraging. People are guarding their votes. They are participating in sorting and counting of votes. The provision of security is also fantastic. I think I can judge that this is one of the most peaceful and best organized election I have witnessed in my career in the police force. I've been participating in election and election security. I think we have done well so far. So we are waiting for all the presiding officers to finish collecting their result and announcing it at that place, and for them to move to the next collation center. So we are on top of the situation. The performance of everybody is encouraging, particularly the turnout in the southeast is also very, very encouraging, and election is going on fine everywhere. It's not true that we have blasts in Maiduguri, but we have blasts in Borno State, which is Gwaza. Gwaza and Maiduguri are over 20 kilometers apart. In that blast, yes, we expected this kind of situation, and we have made proactive arrangement. Quite all right, the adversaries have sent in some, whatever you call, either blast or missile or whatever, but it has not disrupted the election very well. But we have about 5 injuries, but the election is going on there perfectly.
We return to our coverage in the southern part of the country where voters made it early to their polling units to cast their votes and ballots in the presidential and National Assembly elections. There were, however, reports of violence and disruptions in the elections in a few states such as Lagos, Edo and Delta. This next report captures the conduct of the polls in the south.
In Ekiti State, the exercise commenced early as voters got accredited in good time. The experience was a mixed bag also for voters in Lagos as voting commenced early for some in areas like Ikoyi, Falomo and Ikeja, while voting was disrupted in some parts of the city like Ikate, Elegushi and Okota.
Everybody take off.
In Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, voters arrived well ahead of official commencement time to identify their names on the register, while other parts of Oyo State witnessed late deployment of election materials and officials. Moving to the South region, voters also took to their polling units to cast their votes. Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade and Governor Nyesom Wike of River State expressed disappointment at the late arrival of voting materials.
INEC ought to have been fully ready before letting the public know that they are completely ready and that they believe that Nigerians will be happy with their preparation, but they are not too sure for it at all.
If I cannot vote till 8 minutes after 2, then it calls for worry. And I'll be receiving calls from other polling units showing the same concern that the machine is either not working or is being shut down or it's a deliberate manipulation to ensure that they lower the votes from Obudu.
The governor of Delta State and the vice presidential candidate of the PDP, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, and his wife voted in their country home, Owa Alero Ika Northeast Council area. He commends INEC officials for conducting a peaceful exercise.
You can see that both voting centers here, we have large crowds out here. And we thank God that the reports we're getting is the election is fairly peaceful and everything is working, everything is on course.
In the southeast, there were complaints from some voters about the absence of INEC staff in some parts of Imo State. Normalcy was eventually restored and the election process began amid some challenges. In Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo was also spotted making his way to fulfill his civic duty amid uncertainties.
Earlier in the day, the president and his family cast their votes in the ongoing presidential and National Assembly elections in Daura, Katsina State. The president voted in polling unit 003, Sarikin Yara. Addressing journalists after casting his vote, the president expressed confidence in the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct free, fair and credible elections, adding that his party would emerge victorious at the end of the exercise across the country.
In Nasarawa, in Katsina, in Sokoto, all over the place. I mentioned my favorite candidate, and I think my constituency will give 100%.
What is your advice to Nigerians as they await the announcement of the results?
Yes, Nigerians should make sure that they have been respected. That means the candidate they want to vote for, they are allowed to vote for him.
This is the first time since that your name is on the panel. How has been the experience?
It's very exciting. I look at those who are competing, and some of them are so agitated. They didn't know that I tried I ended up in Supreme Court 3 times, and then the fourth time I said God did, and God sent technology. With permanent voters card, no fraudulent person can come and claim anything more than what votes for himself.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has suspended voting in some polling units owing to what it says are pockets of violence and disruption of the voting process recorded across the country. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says the electoral umpire suspended voting in parts of Abia, Kebbi and Bayelsa states owing to violence, such as attacks by political thugs who carted away some bimodal voter accreditation machines. However, he told journalists at the Collation Center in Abuja that the commission recovered from some of those incidents and remobilized for the exercise.
In Oshimili local government area of Delta State, thugs attacked a polling unit and 2 beavers machines were lost in the process. Similarly, in Safana local government area of Katsina State, thugs attacked one of our voting locations and snatched 6 beavers machines. But again, were able to recover and use the spare beavers machines and reinforce security for voting to continue in that location. Some of the polling units opened late, but in line with our policy, any Nigerian who is on the queue will have the opportunity to vote. Some of the reasons why we couldn't open the polling units on time are, one, the perennial problem of logistics in spite of our best effort. But another contributory factor to the late opening of the polling units is actually the perennial insecurity in the country. The bimodal voter accreditation system, the beavers, deployed nationwide for the first time, has been functioning optimally in most parts of the country. And we hear actually less and less of complaints about the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system than we hear about our other processes.
And the big news again. Nigerians today trooped out in their numbers to exercise their franchise in the presidential and National Assembly elections as they decided their next set of leaders at the national level for the next 4 years. We also told you that INEC has suspended elections in parts of Abia, Kebbi, Bayelsa states owing to violence, as well as in Edo owing to the omission of a political party in some areas. And the Inspector General of Police said that the elections have largely been peaceful and vowed that the police will tackle security breaches across the country. And that's it on the news at 10. Gloria Umezuki. The 2023 verdict continues in a moment.